Hi, I'm Yasmin Vasugian, Gallup's World Poll correspondent. I'm actually here with Daniel Sutherland from the Department of Homeland Security. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to get right to it. You said in a speech that you gave in 2005, there are many elements to our nation's counterterrorism strategy. We must protect air travel, we must inspect cargo shipments, we must better control our borders, we must prepare our critical infrastructure, we must have access to intelligence about the threats our country faces. Now, Gallup did a poll in 2006, and they found that 41% of Americans said the Bush administration has gone too far in restricting people's civil liberties in order to fight terrorism. So how do you respond to that?
Well, most people don't realize the extent or the effort that's being made to not only protect the rights of racial and religious ethnic minorities in this country, but also the work done to create partnerships to work with the government on these issues.
Well, it might have something to do with sort of policies that are being passed right now.
True,
too, because,
absolutely. Yep.
Because, I mean, right before Congress went to recess, they passed a law that said that it would allow government to monitor suspects in national security investigations without first seeking court approval in cases when one party is reasonably believed to be abroad. And that's alarmed a lot of civil liberties defenders. So how would the DHS respond to that sort of thing?
Well, that's not a Department of Homeland Security program, so I haven't personally reviewed that one. We have programs like that as well. That are controversial, and our obligation is, our neat responsibility is to look at the civil liberties aspects of programs, try to help our colleagues shape programs in ways that get the mission done, but do it in ways that respect the Constitution and federal civil rights laws and people's civil liberties.
I know this isn't something that you directly deal with, but there was an incident last week in New York where outspoken Americans opposed the first publicly funded Arabic language school, and they said it will foster anti-American Islamist extremism. And Gallup asked Americans in 2006 if they think Muslims living in the U.S. are loyal to the U.S., and 39% of Americans said no. So looking at this number and seeing that incident, is there an environment to sort of help educate and fuse these cultures?
Right. That particular incident in New York City, I don't know anything about because it's not within our area.
Right.
The general issue of the attitude of the American populace to the Muslim community is very important to us. We think that the security of our country will be enhanced if religious and ethnic minority communities are have a full stake in the country. So we do work quite a bit on those issues. Our secretary has made a number of very public statements about the need to integrate Muslim Americans into society. He's done that in front of African American audiences, Jewish American audiences, in front of the Senate. We do a lot of work like that ourselves, trying to drive the debate to a higher level. So that's one way that we're trying to contribute there. And then also, as I said, trying to educate our own 200,000 employees on these subjects.
When you have things happening in the administration like the Patriot Act, for instance, and the federal judges came out and said again the amendments that were made to the Patriot Act were deemed unconstitutional. It seems to me like oftentimes the Islamic community in America sees that as, being against them in a way.
Right. And one of our obligations is to try to explain to Muslim American communities why the government's doing what it can do, but also to get their specific concerns about policies and come in and try to help shape and improve policy. And we've been able to do that in a lot of areas, like aviation watch lists or no-fly lists have really been improved because we've been out working with Muslim American communities, hearing their concerns, and making changes in watch lists because of that. And that's just one of a dozen examples.
But then I read an article in the Washington Post today about how the watch list actually has a lot of mistakes in it as well.
And that's
a lot
the
of
issue,
people are being misidentified.
Right, that's the issue that I'm getting at, and that's an issue we've been hearing from Arab Americans and Muslim Americans for 4 or 5 years, and we have been able to, I'm not sure the Washington Post story captured the improvements that have been made in the watch list and the ability to have redress to solve some of those misidentification issues. But that is a direct area where these ethnic communities are improving public policy.
So how can Americans be assured that something like 9/11 will not happen again and have their civil liberties and civil rights remain intact?
Well, we can't be sure we're not going to have a 9/11. We need to be careful. We know that just this week, arrests in Denmark and Germany, we need to have heightened sense of awareness. In terms of civil liberties, our government has more protections and layers of review than people are aware of. For example, the fact that an office like mine even exists. Our whole job is to do nothing but help our colleagues who lead our department to shape policy in ways that respect civil rights and civil liberties.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sutherland.
Thank you.